There are many different types of terminology that we as reptile keepers use within the industry to describe our snakes, to describe what we do to keep them happy and healthy. And while we tend to educate and describe these things to non-reptile keepers or non-reptile people, I've found that there are a few terms that we really don't discuss nearly as often as other things. Today, I wanted to go over 4 terms that we use to describe their lifestyle, for a lack of a better term. So if you're interested, just stick around and we will discuss it. The first term we're going to go over is fossorial. Fossorial means that they are completely ground-dwelling creatures. They don't really have the capabilities to climb as other species are concerned. Can they? Yes, they can, but it does pose a bigger risk for them to fall should they be climbing. A good example of a completely fossorial species is a hognose snake. Their little stumpy bodies really don't have the capabilities to climb really well as, say, a corn snake, for an example. The second term that we're going to go over is terrestrial. Now, terrestrial means that they are mostly ground-dwelling creatures. I do see a lot of times that hognoses and other fossorial species are listed as terrestrial, and technically it's not wrong. However, terrestrial animals do have the capabilities to climb. As an example, ball pythons, they are listed as terrestrial. Corn snakes are technically listed as terrestrial, as well as leopard geckos technically are terrestrial. They are technically ground-dwelling creatures. However, they have the ability to climb. And in all honesty, though, corn snakes and other rat snakes, I believe, should be listed in the next category, which we will discuss here shortly. Third is semi-arboreal. That means that they can live their lifestyle either on the ground or in the trees. Again, I believe that a corn snake should technically be listed as a semi-arboreal species because they are seen climbing a lot. A better example of this is a carpet python. Carpet pythons are designed to live half of its life in the trees and half of its life on the ground. Fourth and final term is arboreal. Now, unlike semi-arboreal, which is sometimes in trees, arboreal is all the time in trees. Very rarely will you see these creatures on the ground, if at all. If you do see them on the ground, either they are laying eggs or something is wrong with them. For these type of creatures, think your New Caledonian geckos, crested geckos, gargoyle geckos, chihuahuas, lychees, everything else in between. You will find them almost 99% of the time in the trees. Now, why is this so important for new keepers and upcoming keepers to know? It all has to do with making sure that you are providing your animal what it needs to not just survive, but thrive. So if you think about it, if you're getting a fossorial species, you want to focus more on floor space than you want to do height space. And if you want to go with an arboreal species like a gecko or a chameleon, you want to focus on height space versus floor space. And again, everything else in between. Which is why when we have our minimum sized enclosures or our ethical minimum sized enclosures, those are designed for that species in mind, and why these minimums are being updated constantly. But those are the 4 terms that I don't see being explained nearly as often enough that I believe new and upcoming keepers should learn about. Are there other terms that you feel aren't fully explained that should be? Let me know in the comments below.